Up, we've got Maciej from PM for Payment App and COO, Josh, co-founder and COO, and then we've got Assad, co-founder and Chief Visionary Officer, and Tanner Matthews, and Ava, Chief of Growth. I'd like to welcome you all to the stage for our last panel of the day. Please come up here and take it away. We'd love to hear about Web3 gaming. Thank you.
Oh, you need a mic. Oh, mic. Can we get one more mic?
Can we get one more mic, please? Or two?
Or two? Two? Yeah. Right, it's gonna be hard, but.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
Okay, awesome.
So hello everybody.
Yeah,
We'll share. Hey everybody. Thanks for staying here for the whole day and for our last panel discussions right now. We will be talking more about Web3 gaming, even though it is like developing for the last, from 2014, if it's like officially in the history. But anyway, we will discuss whether it is the new frontier or not. So, but before that, unfortunately, we had some changes in our panel discussions in this lineup of the speakers. Therefore, with somebody, I just got connected just right now. Hello, I'm Eva. And that's why I will kindly ask every speaker to introduce yourself like for 30 seconds and tell a bit about you and about the company that you're working for.
Hey everyone, my name is Tanner. I am the COO and co-founder of Altura. Altura helps game developers build, scale, and monetize Web3 games. We help along the entire development process, APIs and SDKs. We have Unity and Unreal SDKs, and we're actually a Unity verified solution on the Unity Asset Store. We have a minting platform. With our minting platform, we offer things like smart NFTs and consumable NFTs. Smart NFTs are upgradable or downgradable NFTs. Consumable NFTs, just like they sound, like bullets. Once they're consumed in the game, they're burnt automatically on chain. And then we also have marketplace solutions, white label marketplace solutions, or our Altura marketplace.
Hi, I'm Assad. I'm the co-founder and chief visionary officer of Medieval Empires. It's basically a mid-course strategy game with a top team of people who worked 15 to 20 years each in the gaming industry. And we're building our own IP in the game. It's basically in the 14th century where the Turkish tribes were fighting against the English crusaders. And then this is an open metaverse, or how you want to call it, where more factions will join the game based on interest in the world of people. And part of that for our go-to-market is also the second biggest actor in the Muslim world. He plays in a TV series which has 3 billion views. It's like the biggest drama TV series in the world. And he's the face of the game at the moment for the Turkish faction. And then we will play this game for the other factions also, where we bring actors who fit into there. We are at the moment we just launched the open beta yesterday. So now it's free to play. Everyone can test it and check it out. It's a PC game for now until the end of the year. Then it will be also a mobile game.
Awesome. My name is Josh Roizen, and I'm actually just here to pass the mic between these two guys. Thank you. No, my name is Josh Roizen. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of Angelo.app. We're a launchpad and exchange for gaming tokens. So working exclusively with game tokens, gaming projects, and gaming infrastructure projects.
Yeah, hi, my name is Maciej. I'm gamer from early 90s, I would say. I'm in IT sector as I used to be a coder about 15 years ago, like assembler and things like that. Then in the crypto sphere, I'm for about 6 years. I was CTO of one of the centralized VC, and for the last 2.5 years, I'm working for Kanga. I'm CEO in Kanga Exchange. What we do, we are centralized exchange set up about 6 years ago in Poland, but of course we have users from different parts of the world. Our most user base, the biggest user base, is center of Europe, but we also have a lot of users from South Asia. We have some from Turkey and so on. So this is what I do. Thanks.
Thank you. We have a really cool lineup here. Launchpad, game, company for helping game developers, and gamer. Oh, cool. So as far as I see, we have only 15 minutes left. So let's try to be a little bit more short in order not to bother people. Yeah, 15. Discovering the topic whether the Web3 gaming is the new frontier, let's start from the basics. What is Web3 game at all? So we all know what is gaming. So what parts, assets, what things distinguish Web3 games from all other games? Just if you can, like 30 seconds.
Sure. So to us, a Web3 game is a game that integrates blockchain-backed technology in the form of tokenizing in-game assets. So that's taking something that you traditionally see in a game like Fortnite, like a skin or a gun, and tokenizing that, putting that on chain, and then putting the ownership in the hands of the player versus the ownership in the hands of the game. So you're allowing that player to profit off of the secondary sale of that asset and being able to own that instead of just losing their money directly through giving it to the game for whatever reason.
For me, Web3 gaming is, the core of Web3 gaming is having items decentralized somewhere where the user is in full power of ownership. and I think that's the big change between Web2 and Web3 game. The games will be the same, but the ownership, which was stolen 20 years ago when digitalization came into place, and in Facebook you don't have your data. With Netflix, you don't have your movies anymore, so you can't sell them after you watched or you use something. And with Web3 gaming, this is changing, and it's a platform shift for me that people have the ownership and they can do with the items whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I'll riff a little bit off of what Tanner said, and just add that we're adding value to the items that you own inside the game. I like to use the example of Usain Bolt. So if I go for a run tomorrow morning, I won't. But if I do, my sneakers are actually worth less after I run in them than before because I'm not that great of a runner. If Usain Bolt goes and runs a sprint, his shoes are worth more. If you do something awesome in a game, the asset that you do it with should be worth more because you played with it than, if I played with it because I'm not good at it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that we have so much more to add, but the great thing is that you can also be creator now, much easier. Of course, you could be in Web2 games and so on, of different items, different skins and so on, but it was more for fun, for you being famous or things like that, but you couldn't earn anything from that. Now you can, so this is also another great benefit.
Okay, interesting. So if we make a short conclusion, so the next thing distinguishes usual gaming from Web3. Using of blockchain, the opportunity of secondary sales, full power of ownership, additional value, and the user can be a creator. Did I miss something?
No.
No. Okay. So then the question is the next one. What then is wrong with the regular games that we came to the point that we need to have all these points from the list?
No, go ahead.
I guess what's wrong with regular games, I don't know if there's anything technically wrong with anything. There doesn't necessarily have to be something this is incorrect 100%. It's more so a problem statement that can be fixed or something that can be done better. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. It just means that there can improvement that can be made. And I think by natively integrating blockchain into anything, into a game, you can improve upon what's currently being done in a way that it doesn't hurt the game and it doesn't hinder it, but it does add value. And I think by adding that value, you're creating something that is better, not necessarily saying something was bad before, but yeah, that's it.
Do we have 30 seconds or more? Yeah. Yes, so I would also say that there's nothing wrong at the moment. I mean, there is something wrong, but Web2 games are good games, obviously, because we have like 3 billion gamers worldwide, and they spend a lot of time playing these games. They have fun, and all is great. But with time, there comes also change. And over the last 20 years or so, we also saw different platform shifts from usual games to Facebook games to free-to-play games to, and always when a shift happened, people said this will not be successful. Like if you go back to the developers of free-to-play games, they will tell you people said free-to-play will not work. And now free-to-play is obviously very successful because people can just go there, play, and see if it's good for them. And with Web3 games, there's the next platform shift, how I would call it. And it still takes a little bit time because this is how change happens. Like, I come from digital transformation background, and I understand change management very well, I would say. And just to give a little story, like we had like 40 years ago, there were suitcases, and before that, they had no tires. I don't know if you know or not. We are all maybe too young for that, I'm not sure, but there were no tires, and people were saying, it's no problem because I can wear them. And then the tires came to suitcases, and after that, everyone was saying, like, why was it not there before? It makes no sense because it makes my life easier. It has a benefit for me, myself. And this is how I see the gaming industry with ownership and blockchain. Blockchain at the moment is the best technology to decentralize ownership and to give full power to the players. And I think we will see the same change here in 2 or 3 years when we have really good games launching where people have the same fun they have now with Web2 games. They will demand ownership because the solution is there. They will see like a very good game in Web2 and a very good game in Web3. In one, I can own nothing, and in the other, I can own everything. And if I finish playing it, I can sell it again on a market for any value people want to give me. And then, like, if you ask someone in 3, 4, 5 years, they will say, why should I play this other game? Obviously, there are some things why it takes time, because at the moment people have communities in Web2 games, they will not leave it because of that, and there are not a lot of good examples. But as soon as we have the successful examples and they see it's working and the ownership is really with the players, I think then Web3 gaming will be successful. And again, that's also what I said at the beginning, that's the big difference between Web2 and Web3 games. I own it, and then I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah. No. So there's a couple of things the way I look at it. The first is from a community perspective. Games in general, whether it be Web 2 or Web 3 or board games, have a way of building community naturally. And so the question becomes, who's in control of that community? And with Web 3, we see the control being in the hands of the community versus in the hands of the game. That's the first piece. The second piece is naturally we want to earn. We want to, even when we play Web 2 games, we want to earn XP, we want to earn points, we want to earn all these different things. And so that presents an amazing use case for gaming where you can actually earn an asset that's worth something in the outside world, in the game, but also in other games. You know, when we talk about porting assets from game to game, when we talk about the raceverse, when we talk about all these different assets that you can bring from game to game, that's an amazing thing that you can do. But also, it creates an ability for you to be able to play all the games that you want to play with the things that are yours, right? So, you know, going back to Usain Bolt, right? If he runs in, you know, Shanghai with that pair of shoes and he just loves that pair of shoes and he wants to take it to Tokyo, he can run in Tokyo with that pair of shoes. Well, now with Web3 gaming, you can do the same thing. If you win a Grand Prix in your, you know, Ferrari, you can bring it from that game to the next game. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and how it looks now, and looking how the gaming community in general, the sphere was evolving. This is funny because it also changes. And for example, I don't know, I was starting from late 80s, early 90s, Atari, later on Amiga and so on. You had your discs, you could sell it to others and so on. And this was your ownership. When you have Steam and things like that from one side, it's funny because you have all games in one place, you can download them at any moment, etc. But when they told you, okay, you cannot sell that to any others, and of course European Union is fighting with that and so on and so on. And then the situation that you are buying the different items for product, we see it also from different studios, for example, that at the moment Blizzard or others, they are allowing you to move different parts, for example, of skins, etc., between their games. And this is great achievement. We can do the same thing if we have some standard, and we see that. I don't know, Nakamoto Games, others, they are trying to do SDKs with common standards that if you create some item in one game and you are bored, because you will very often be bored after some time of playing, you can move to it to another place. The same with tournaments and things like that. So there are a lot of things that we can do that we couldn't. And we see, I think, the same standard in the gaming. Earlier you could have a great idea and so on during Amiga time, Atari and so on, and you could do your own game. Then we had the situation that you need a big studio, you need a lot of money and so on. But then, I don't know, Wasteland 3. We know a guy who he's doing a fundraise on Kickstarter, and he's doing this game because people and community is behind him. And we get in the return the game, we are happy, we don't need to rely on the studio that is saying that it won't sell and things like that. We can achieve this also through crypto even easier, and you have the transparency. So these are, for me, great achievements to Web3, getting rid of this type of things, DRMs, and so on and so on.
Okay, thank you. Luckily, we agreed on first two questions. But as far as we have not so many time left, I was thinking what question will be the best right now. Let me ask a question not from the list. A little per story. For the last 1.5 years, I have been hosting, I don't know, more than 40 Twitter spaces on the Web3 gaming topics. And let me ask you the question that is usually raises so much, you probably know about what I'm talking, so much hype and debate. And by the way, 2 weeks ago, it was like people started shouting at each other during the Twitter space. So who are the user of the Web3 games? And I will make very small, like here, remark. The thing is that practically all people started, oh, okay, gamers. No, let's just be honest with each other. And right now that we don't have still Web3 gamers. We have like crypto gamers, and we have gamers that probably don't want to like join our games. So who are our user on your opinion?
Sadly, I'd say right now, everything that happens, especially in Web3 gaming at this current point in history, because better games are still coming out, games that are fun to play are still in development, like all these things are still happening. It's not an industry that moves fast. Gaming's never moved fast. Game development takes time and it's a lot of effort. But right now, it's the games where can I get the best airdrop? Where can I make the most money right now? What game can I play to farm so I can do something, so I can make some more money, so I can exit that money out of that ecosystem? And that's exactly what's happening right now. You don't really see that many games, if any games at the moment, that have users that are playing the game because they really enjoy playing it. There are games that are in beta and games that are starting to build that actually have that kind of community that's coming up and people are liking to play it. Games like Neon Heroes, games like Oxio Origins, Space Misfits, and games like that people are actually playing because they like to play them. But for the most part, like the games that are successful and get the most hype are the games that people know they can go in, potentially get a massive airdrop, make a bunch of money, and then take that money out of the ecosystem. There are small pockets of things that are doing other situations, but they're so niche and so minuscule in comparison to what the larger mass majority of people are looking at, that they aren't the dominating factor and aren't the dominating voice in this arena at the moment. And I hope that changes, and I believe that will change, especially as the narrative around gaming changes, and I'm taking too much time, so I'm going to pass off. But yeah, that's my opinion.
And this thing is aggressively blinking at us.
So,
Although I think we are scheduled for like till 50, so for like another 20 minutes.
yeah.
Officially. It depends if you guys. I mean, you guys can just walk out, I guess. But
I'm just looking at that.
yeah, no, it's just
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
It's blinking at
it's like get the
I don't know
off
what to do now.
stage.
No, so I don't see any issue actually with the current model. I mean, when we listened to Yatsu in the talk he had, he said actually players are not really extracting the money or taking it away, but they're taking it and putting it again into the ecosystem so it can grow further. And it's a certain point of time. I mean, if it helps or not, I think it helps because it's growing, right? So the ecosystem is growing. But with every change, coming back to change management, every change, every new technology has a lot of fails, and it takes a lot of time until technology is ready for people to use it without even knowing that it's this new technology, right? If someone wants to use a phone, they don't know how the phone works. They are just interested in additional value they can get. We are not there yet with a lot of blockchain games because it's still hard to enter. They are not good enough, which is very normal for a change, for a platform change. So now, as you said, we are in a beta stage and alpha stage with a lot of good games. They got investment like 3 years ago. There was like a lot of investments in games, but some games take like 2, 3, 4 years. So we will see the good games, and there's a lot of investment in infrastructure, gaming infrastructure, wallet infrastructure. It will be in a half year, 1 year, and even now we have some solutions where it gets as easy. It's anyone can join, and they don't even know it's a blockchain game.
Now I'm a little bit annoyed because I said exactly this in a panel that he sat through last week in Riyadh. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I always use the phone example, right? So like if you want to send a text message, you know, if I'm going to send you a text message, you don't really care how it arrived. You just care that it arrived expediently, and that you could read it and reply. And I said this the other day, which is why I'm laughing. I'm like, you stole my example. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you know, it's that, right? It's onboarding users because the games are better, and I think we're seeing more and more AAA games join the Web3 community. I just saw I'm controversially very, very bullish on Star Atlas, and I think that they've significantly turned around what they're doing. They're building real AAA games in Web3, and the more that we see projects follow their lead and the lead of many others that are also doing it now, the more I think gamers will come, because at the end of the day, they want to play cool games, not, you know, they're not interested necessarily in the crypto aspect. They want to play something that they find fun and engaging, and that makes them, you know, happy. That gives them that dopamine release, and I think we're getting to a place where we're building that more and more. And as we do, I think we'll see more and more people join the communities.
No,
Yeah, so
wait a second. I have a question to Josh.
Yes.
You're exactly from the perspective of launchpads.
Yeah, well, Launchpad and Exchange.
Exchange.
Yeah.
So again, let's be honest. You are literally not interested in gamers that want to play the game. You're interested in the people who want to buy the token, who want to exchange that, and so on.
So no, that's our differentiator, right? So we're a Launchpad that's exclusive to gaming only. So actually, our entire, at this moment, 34,000 person community is made up of two demographics. It's about 90% actual gamers and about 10% institutional funds that invest in Web3 games. So that's actually our biggest selling point, is we bring, we act as a launchpad for games, but present it to a gaming-centered community.
Interesting. Signify also last year told everybody that they're exactly gaming launchpad. Elixir is telling the same right now on the market. And if they even became more picky, they will choose only 5 or 6 games per year
Yeah.
to launch, plus, of course, incubation program. That's why I was asking that
I mean,
question.
they are. Why should they shoot for gamers? Like they enabling games to raise money and to use the tokens which are there to exchange them on exchanges, and that's why for them it's not really. I mean, maybe it's also important. I don't say it's not important, but their goal is a different one. So they are not a game themselves. They enable games to get the money and to make it easier for them to raise.
For sure, but when the game wanna launch on their launchpad or on any other launchpad,
Financially,
they
there's
need-
no incentive. You're right.
yeah.
You're right.
This is first point.
We're just
Second point,
purists.
that the game also should step in on the launchpad, having the community around themselves. And if they want to have a successful TG, they need to have all those, let's call them crypto bros, that will finally buy the token. That is concerning the question, who are the users that are right now?
So using utility to back the tokens is kind of what mitigates that risk. And so what we see is, like, for example, games that are launching tokens that are essentially acting as membership tokens that get you early access to beta versions of the games. Or even when we do it in tranches, you know, if you own a certain amount of the token, you can have, I don't know, for example, the opportunity to be a voice actor for a minor character in a game, things like that. So you really, you make the benefit of owning the token things that only the people that actually want to play the game find cool, and they will come.
How many games, the last question, sorry, how many games have you launched in 2023?
So in 2023, ooh, I don't even know how to count that far back.
2024.
Okay, I can tell you we've done 5 this month. Yes,
I will come up for you after
we can
the
talk
panel.
later. We
Yeah,
can talk
but-
later.
For me, it is also a very interesting discussion because we are also, centralized exchange, but we have also Launchpad, and we do more and more gaming, as we are from Poland, and we have, for example, Intel Cup, that is pretty lot of gamers and so on. And Yeah, I agree with you. You know, when it comes to the exchange, from our perspective, my private perspective is a little bit different, but from the exchange perspective, one of the reasons why we are going for gamers and so on, in my opinion, is because when you think about adoption of crypto, it's much easier with gamers and so on. They are tech savvy, they like to sit around, they understand the system, etc. And even though in this case, we still see a lot of bumps and issues because we see a lot of users, okay, I would like just to go to Steam, play the game, I don't care about tokens and things like that, of course. And they just want to play and have fun, so installing MetaMask to be able to play game or buy it on some service, etc. is a problem, of course. But the gaming is still pretty early, you know. When you talk with CD Projekt, you talk with Ubisoft, you talk with Blizzard, others, they are at the moment starting games that will be released around 2028, 2030, etc. We are not there yet. So what we are doing is, of course, we are fundraising. It's why I mentioned Kickstarter, why I mentioned Wasteland 3 and so on. What we are now supporting is that we build better and better games. At the same time, we have a lot of small, easy games. We know that there are more and more users that are using consoles, that they don't have PCs, laptops, and so on, the casual gaming. And the thing is that they just want to have, you know, some fun with easy game. They want to make a tournament with a few friends, play for, I don't know, a few dollars and things like that. I remember the same was with poker 15, 20 years ago. People were going to take a beer and just play for, I don't know, $10. It's more about fun. So what we are trying to do, we are now doing this simpler game. In the meantime, that users are starting to be used in cryptosphere and so on. And in the meantime, we see more and more this really big AI games happening that will be really changing, in my opinion, in long term, the market.
Okay, that's interesting. I think we definitely will have a continuation of this conversation. Okay, as far as we're late. So then I will ask the question that I usually ask every time and every person that I'm talking about Web3 gaming. What will we have in 5 years? And there are 3 options. We will still have the division like Web2 games and Web3 games. All Web2 games will shift to the Web3, so literally we'll have only Web3 gaming. Or we will definitely, forget about those distinction Web2, Web3. It will be something else. The technology is developed pretty quickly.
I think it will be somewhere in the middle of the first and the second. Like you're going to exist in a world where I think that the technology that is Web3 gaming and the technology that comes with tokenizing assets, in order for it to truly see mass adoption or mass success, I think we need to move as far away from it being the narrative that's thrown in everyone's face and just becoming something like when people started using Unity or Unreal, just becoming something that they utilize when they're developing a game and being able to harness that, and everything on the blockchain side being done on the background with infrastructure companies like us or whoever it is, that they worry about that side. And when people are playing the game, the only thing they feel like is that they're playing a game. They shouldn't have to feel like they're trading assets or gambling or whatever it is with that comes with crypto, or like the negative sides of crypto. It just needs to be that they're getting to play a game, and in 5 years, I hope we get to the point where that is the situation, that games, if they want to have blockchain integrated into their game, they can do that in a way where it's native and you're not taken out of the experience. The veil, the gaming veil, isn't constantly lifted off of your face, and you feel like you're just getting to enjoy a game with that added benefit of having ownership and that added benefit of getting to gain something in the game, whether it's the token or the assets that you can have real life value with in some way or move around in some way. But I also think there are going to be games that just are like, nah, not for me, and they don't utilize it. Just like games don't use microtransactions, or games don't use other parts of gaming that have come along and taken the mainstream of a lot of things. I think it's going to be a combination of both. But I'd like to see a world where it is natively involved within the gaming experience and not necessarily just this, let's play a Web3 game. Like, let's just play a game that's utilizing technology that is beyond arguably better than what is currently available.
Yeah, I mean, at the end there are different types of games, and you don't need for everything someone to own everything in this game. If it's a simple game or a hyper casual game, I just play sometimes. on the side. It could be also something, but I'm just saying like there are different types of games. Some need it more, some need it less. I think we will see this in next year, some first good games on the market, some good Web3 games. But it's obviously not enough. I mean, we need much more to have a success for Web3 games. But this will happen in the next 5 years for sure. I'm convinced it will be very successful. But will we see like 50% or 100% or whatsoever? I think no one knows yet. But I just know that Web3 gaming is the perfect next step for owning everything in the game, and that this. By the way, if we look to Asia, South Korea or Japan or anything like that, they're much further, right? The eyes are always on the US and Europe, and they don't care too much about ownership because they come from a culture where they always owned everything. But if you come from communism or anything else, you had no ownership in the past. So these people are much more into ownership. That's why it's also going much faster there, one of the reasons. So that's why, if we look there, also the big gaming studios, they are already building Web3 games, like the $1-2 billion companies. They're already building a lot. So it's more or less already there, but maybe not in the West. But again, it will come. We will see a lot of studios also in the West adapting that when they see the success, and this will happen in the next few years.
Yeah, I think that it's hard to predict because we move at such a speed in this industry. But the one thing that I notice and from speaking to people, understand that when we transitioned from Web 1 to Web 2, we didn't talk about it. We didn't have Web 2 conferences. We didn't make it a thing. It was just how we do things now. And slowly, I think that we're starting to shift away from the narrative of take Web3 and shove it down your throat, and moving more towards this is just cool technology. It's a cool feature within a game, and most of the time you won't notice that it's even there until you're benefiting from it. And I really want to see us get to that point. Additionally, realistically, I have no idea. We could be playing, games in real life. We could be, with the addition of AR and VR, the limitations are non-existent anymore, and we can literally live our entire lives inside of games potentially in 5 years if we want to. I'm not advocating for that in any way, shape, or form. I think it's, a little bit insane. What? I know I might be able to beat Usain Bolt. Unlikely, even with all the boosts in the world, but it's possible.
Yeah, and for me, in 2-3 years, probably we'll still have a lot of speed in between different games. In 5 years, I hope it will be more blended. But on the other hand, I'm wondering if we really need it to be blended. Because if you think about your parents, your grandparents, where we not had so many players over the world or so on, what happened with the democratization of the gaming industry and all these things? We have casual players. We have players that prefer tournaments. We have players that prefer consoles. Now you have VRs, totally different games for VRs. So for me, it's probably what will happen. This is my thinking. We will just have another part of the tree, a branch that we have a lot of Web3 gamers. And the world, when you mention Asia, in Asia we see in some countries 80% people playing. We don't need to have 80% of them playing Web3. Some will be staying with casual games, playing 1 hour a day or something. Some others will be geeks like me that have over 1,000 games on Steam. We will see, but the market is huge. We don't need fully brand. Of course, it will be nice because then you have the situation when you have a lot of these MMO RPG games and so on, that servers are full, because from one side you have players that are playing all the time, that they are spending money or they are earning money, and then you have also casual gamers that they don't see empty worlds. This is something that when we have a blend of Web 2 and Web 3, probably will give us some new opportunities. But for me, it might as well go other way and be like we have now, that we have different type of solutions, and if you don't have time, you just spend half an hour weekly, and this is also okay for you and for this type of game.
Thank you. So literally, the future is not defined, and we'll have lots of things to do to define it. We already for almost 15 minutes late. So thank you everybody for staying with us for these 15 minutes and that you didn't left this audience before. Thank you speakers for being here today. Unfortunately, we need to start talking with the organizers of events. We need to prolong panel discussions. Like 20 minutes is not enough if the topic is good. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.